While a handful of Western countries provide Israel with all kinds of military, political, economic, and moral support, the insufficiency of Muslim countries to react has unfortunately led us to this situation. Based on international law and the UN Charter, it is of utmost importance that we continue our coordinated efforts to take coercive measures against those who commit genocide in Palestine. We cannot allow our differences of opinion and attitude to become a barrier. We sincerely wish that our Palestinian brothers and sisters can achieve national unity. Dear brothers and sisters, as Islamic countries, we must lead the steps to take against Israel. First of all, as long as its aggression continues, it is of utmost importance to impose an arms embargo on Israel, to terminate trade, and to isolate Israel in the international arena.
Okay, let's discuss this in more detail with my guest, Mustafa Barghouti. He's the Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative, and he joins me from Ramallah. Welcome to you, Mustafa. Let's start with that comment coming from the Turkish president. He said that there'd been an insufficiency of Muslim countries in reacting to the situation. Why is that? Why have Muslim countries seemingly stood by? Yes, they've used rhetoric, but they've stood by and not taken any tangible action. Why?
Well, I think absolutely President Erdoğan is absolutely correct. The Arab and Muslim reaction to the atrocity and the genocide that is happening in Gaza, and now the war crimes both in West Gaza and Lebanon, the reaction to them from the Arab and Muslim world is very weak. And why is that happening? I think because some countries are afraid to take action. Some countries don't want to disturb their relationship with the United States of America. And some countries are unfortunately still keeping the normalization relations with Israel. What is needed at this moment, and let me remind you with what Smotrich, the Minister of Finance of Israel, has just said, declaring that his intention in 2025, the next year, will be the year of annexation of the West Bank. What is left now from the so-called two-state solution? What is left from the so-called peace talks? Nothing. We are facing a fascist Israeli government, and all the Arab and Muslim countries must immediately establish a complete boycott, divestment, and sanctions from this entity. Israel is a pariah state. It's a rogue state, and it has to be treated with sanctions and with punitive acts, and all normalization agreements with Israel must be cancelled. That's if we want to see a serious reaction to what Israel is doing.
I'm interested what you think about this, because there is a line of thought that sometimes Israel puts out statements to try and leverage situations. For example, recently the chief of the Israeli army said that they were going to extend their position in southern Lebanon, take more territory. Now we hear Smotrich saying that there's an intention to seize, annex parts or all of the occupied West Bank. Is it possible that that is just rhetoric to try and leverage any possible deal that might be struck shortly? Because we know that Donald Trump's going to try and bring some kind of peace to these conflicts.
It's not rhetoric at all. It's a preparation for Trump's coming as president of the United States, since Trump has supported before the annexation of the Israeli illegal settlements. And he just commented by saying during the campaign, he said that Israel is too small and it needs to expand. So the Israelis take that literally. I mean, they want to annex the Palestinian territories because Israel's goal is to kill any possibility or potential for a Palestinian state. That is not just rhetoric. It's a law that was passed in the Israeli Knesset. And what we see here is not just talk. We see actions. We see Israel practical annexation of more than 50% of the West Bank through the settlement building, through the building of the illegal apartheid wall, which isolated at least 18% of the West Bank. And now they are building highways that are exclusive for Jewish people and declaring in another law that the right of self-determination in the land of historic Palestine is exclusive for Jewish people. What do you need more than that? they're not just talking about annexation, they are practicing it. And the only way to stop them is to make them pay a very high price. Palestinian resistance is continuing. It is continuing in Gaza. It is continuing in in Lebanon. And that's why they cannot fulfill the occupation of the amount of land they are aiming at. But on the other hand, they have to pay a price with sanctions and boycott and divestment. And also, much more actions has to be taken to send a message to the United States of America, to Mr. Trump, who is a very practical man, as it seems, that the interest of his country will be directly related to his policy regarding Palestine. If that message doesn't get to him, he will be absolutely and completely supportive of what Israel is doing.
Okay, how do you do what you've just said? Let's just say that in an ideal world, the Organisation of Islamic Cooperation and the Arab League, they unite, they find one voice, they know that they need to somehow influence the United States in order to stop Israel. How do you influence a superpower like the US? Do you do that? Can they intimidate them? Do they have to offer him a deal? He's a businessman, Donald Trump. Do you have to sweeten the deal for him somehow?
No, I can list for you 10 points at least, but there are many more points. First point, they should tell the United States they cannot use their military bases in the Arab countries and Islamic countries as long as Israel continues the genocide. Second, they should tell the United States they will not buy from the United States many products unless Israel stops the genocide. Third, they should tell the United States that the preference that they have in terms of oil import and so on will also be cancelled or blocked unless Israel stops the genocide in Gaza and in Lebanon. Fourth, they can tell the United States of America that they will not support many of the policies of the United States in so many international venues unless Israel stops the genocide. And they should also tell the United States of America that all the Abraham Accords are cancelled by those countries who went into normalization agreements with Israel. And they should ban any relations with Israel. Ban any trip, any travel to Israel, ban any commercial deals with Israel, like Turkey did. This is something that all Arab and Muslim countries must do immediately to stop the atrocity that we can see on your TV now. It's a terrible situation. We are talking about at least 180,000 Palestinians injured or killed or will die because of the diseases that Israel is allowing in Gaza, because of the implicit biological warfare and chemical warfare that is happening in addition to bombarding Gaza with 86,000 tons of explosives. What is happening in Gaza, we never saw any time before, except for maybe the crimes of the Nazi regime in Germany.
Mustafa, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. My guest, Mustafa Barghouti, is the Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative, live on the line there from Ramallah.
Thank you.